This story is for Mother's Day. It's a Mother's Day story. It's a lessons that mothers teach you. And my mom's is a short lady. She's about 5'3" or 4", and she has 6 children of her own. And that's a lot of children for a little lady. It's a lot of little ladies that produce a whole bunch of kids, and she's one of them. And she had her first kid by the age of 16, I believe, my oldest brother. And she had 5 kids by the age of like 25 or something like that. And then later on, she had one more kid when she married my stepfather when she was like 32. So my mother is one of these strong women, you know. And my mother, she would whip some ass. Like, my mother was little, but I always said one day we should get her a trophy with her hand raised back. You know how your hand is raised up over your head and behind your back, like you got a whip in your hand? Yeah, my mother could have, she could have definitely been down with the slave masters the way she whipped our ass. She was good with that whip. And she used the 3-prong gray extension cord from back in the days. Now, you got the extension cord that's brown, it's skinny, and the white one is skinny. But you got the gray one that's for 3 prongs. And that's the one that she used to plug the washing machine, to extend the cord on the washing machine. I think everywhere we lived, we always had a washing machine. Even when we lived in the projects in Brooklyn and Fort Greene, I think we had a washing machine because I remember getting whipped with that same extension cord. So anyway, on to the story. And at some point in time, we moved, when I was maybe about 6 or 7, moved to Harlem, back to Harlem. My mother's from Harlem. We moved back to Harlem. And I was outside, and that's when they had, it was called, not a dirt bike, but it was called like a dirt buggy or something. It was a small thing run by a motor. And this guy, his name was Ducky. And in our courtyard, we had benches and stuff. And I remember Ducky was on the bench trying to fix his little, whatever it was, little motor buggy or something. And oil was spilling or whatever, a little bit or whatever it was. He just out there with his tools trying to fix his little buggy. And I remember we were just out there playing around and I was watching him. And then I remember it was this Spanish dude that used to think he was like a karate master or something. You know, back in the days, the people geeked up on kung fu flicks and the whole Bruce Lee thing. They used to walk around with Chinese slippers. Remember that? People back in the days that got real souped up on the whole karate movement and the karate flicks used to wear the karate suits, the gear, and the karate slippers. So it's the Spanish dude. He said to Ducky, like, yo, why are you doing that here? Like, what are you doing that for? You ain't supposed to do that here. And I think Ducky probably told him to mind his business or whatever. And the Spanish dude, and Ducky was leaning down, working on his little motor scooter bike or whatever it's called, right? And the Spanish dude kicked Ducky. He did a karate kick and kicked him in the mouth. Right? So he kicked Ducky in the mouth, and Ducky was holding his mouth. And I don't even remember if Ducky had some cousins from down south, Louie Lou and Ronnie Ron. Now, Louie Lou and Ronnie Ron was like them type of dudes. Remember Rasputia in Eddie Murphy's movie? And she had all them brothers that was big. Well, Ducky had cousins, Louie Lou and Ronnie Ron. They had a sister, and they all lived with their sister. And I remember their sister had a son. His name was Abdul. And he was, built kind of like Ronnie Ron and Louie. Louie Lou and Ronnie Ron was bow-legged, like bow-legged Lou and them. He was bow-legged. They were stocky. They was muscular. And they was the types that people was a little bit fair. They had some respect on their name, Louie Lou and Ronnie Ron. So all I know is, next thing you know, Louie Lou and Ronnie Ron came running down out the building, and that Spanish dude took off. We forgot all his karate. And outside the courtyard to exit, there was a gate. And he tried to run, and Louie Lou and Ronnie Ron caught him at the gate and whipped his ass. And I remember my brother and my sister running with the crowd to see this happening. I don't know why I didn't run or whatever, but I didn't run. And my mother happened to hear the ruckus, and we lived on the 10th floor. And she looked out the window, and she saw them running. And when we came upstairs, my mother whipped their ass. She whipped their tail. And this Sunday sermon is about a lesson. And the moral of the story is, she told them, don't you ever go running behind the crowd when there's commotion going on or something like that. You don't know what could happen. You could have been shot. You could have been hurt. And to teach them that lesson, she whooped their ass. So that's my Mother's Day gift. That was a lesson learned. They say a wise man learns from other people's mistakes. And I'll never forget that. My mother taught us to never run behind no crowd or commotion. Never run to the scene of the crime. So that's my Sunday sermon. International Zoe Mega Millions. Love is love, life is life, and loyalty is priceless. Peace.